Okay, good evening for me to everyone. Today we will have the session of Women in Computational Intelligence. So the speaker is going to be Professor Keeley, Professor Dipti, Professor Alice, and then Professor Sanaz. So we're going to go with Professor Keeley first to talk about the student and to full member. Okay, Keeley, please.
Hi there, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So first of all, you probably know that IEEE is the largest professional association for the advancement of technology. And just a very simple figure, we actually have 120,000 global student members across 100 countries. And we have 2,000 student branches. So what we want to do in this short presentation is say why is it beneficial to become a student member and how lots of those benefits will continue to grow as you become a full member. So I'm going to provide you with a brief overview of student membership in IEEE, but specifically on IEEE, the Computational Intelligence Society. So we'll highlight some of these benefits. So as you can see here, the IEEE has a dedicated website specifically for students, which highlights some of the things you can do. You might actually be surprised if you've not visited it, because it tells you about how to grow as a leader, how to network in your own particular area, how to be a volunteer and get involved. And also you get access to scholarships and grants to help you progress on your career. Travel grants are one of the main benefits, really, really good. So this is the web page here. You can find lots of information on here. Again, if you want full details of the memberships for students, please have a look. Okay, back to the presentation. So this slide here just highlights some of that information, and it's gone off. Well, this is a good start to a recording, isn't it? Try again. What we can see on here is an example of some of the IEEE student webinars that are actually available. These are actually quite regular. They're given by professionals in each individual society and also by students. Student Activities Committee arrange events not only at society level, I'll show you the Computational Intelligence Society Committee in a while, but also on a more national scale as well. There's also a Potentials magazine dedicated to students, and lots of events where you can actually participate, build teams, participate say in robotics competitions or help out in STEM. And what's really powerful, I think, about this is you also get training on how to be a really good volunteer. So this slide, I've highlighted some of the key words that's really, really useful. The word community is absolutely amazing because what you get to do is engage in people in your field. You continuously learn, you can collaborate, you can access the resources, not only on the IEEE site as well, but also from within your local society. There's also a chance to be involved in standards development. At the moment, ethical artificial intelligence is really big and there are standards being developed on autonomous systems. Why not get involved? There's opportunities to network both at chapter level, section level, and also at a number of different conferences. These can be in your local area. You can set up things in your local universities. They can be dedicated to a specific technical interest, such as computational intelligence, or be much more general. Another big thing is the fact that IEEE has a very unique mentoring scheme. So this is if you generally want to get help with your career progression. And what's quite amazing about this is that you could be, say, in India and have a mentor in the United States. It's an international program. Obviously, you know you can access some of the most outstanding and well-recognized journals and publications. And also it provides something called Collaboratech. The idea is that you can meet, discuss different people across the IEEE spectrum. So it's worth mentioning a little bit about student branches. So this gives you the chance to actually network with other students and other people at different stages in their career. It's not also limited just to academia. Through these branches, you can also meet industry professionals. You can engage with them. They'll come in and talk about maybe opportunities of where you can actually transfer your research into industry. In the Computational Intelligence Society, we actually have a chair of chapters. And again, there are student branches within chapters. I've put Professor Mardi Heiberg here on the bottom, and I'll show you where you can find her details later on the CIS website. For example, you may think, I want to join a student branch. Where is my nearest one? So she's great at providing that information. Now, what's really interesting as a student, it's not just being a student, it's about the other things that IEEE offers, okay? So for example, there is an educational part of IEEE, and you can get involved with university programs and pre-university where you actually engage in STEM activities. So for example, you may go into a school and start teaching children how to code or build robots, or from a computational intelligence perspective, why not teach primary school children age 7 what a neural network is? That's a challenge, but very, very rewarding. There's also IEEE CIS, and this is a special interest group on humanitarian technology. So again, these exist for the whole of the IEEE, but also for individual sections. So if you've got some particular technology that you're developing and it can really benefit society in a specific way, you can become a member of CIS and also get funds to try and develop this and get your research out into the community. Some good projects there. And the last thing I want to say is there's also a Women in Engineering, okay? Again, great way, there's Women in Engineering leadership conferences that happen every year that you can go to, quite a lot of events, and this kind of spans all the societies as well. So again, something else that you could check out. And these are not just for student members, these are for full members or any level of membership in IEEE. So one of the most powerful things from personal experience about being in IEEE is being a volunteer and learning how to be a volunteer. It is so rewarding at many, many levels. You might start off, for example, helping at a particular conference you're going to. You might want to volunteer and get involved in some of the student activities that are run. This means you meet other students, you get to meet a wider network of people, and it can lead on to other things. For example, you might help at a student event one year, and then you may decide to lead the organisation of an event in another year. So you build these networks, you grow as a leader. IEEE, for example, has something called a VOLT programme, and this is a volunteer leadership training programme which helps develop IEEE leaders. So there's lots of things that IEEE will help you in your journey to become a volunteer. And just remember that many opportunities help you grow. So looking at the Computational Intelligence Society, if you actually visit the webpage of the Society, you'll find lots of up-to-date information. If you click on the Get Involved link here, you will get a list of some of the activities that have been done recently, the motivation and objectives of the activities of this subcommittee, and then you can meet Bing, who is currently the Student Activities Chair. So some of the things that we do, for example, is at conferences that are sponsored by the Computational Intelligence Society, there's receptions, there's student poster competitions, elevator pitches, and also lots of educational activities as well. You can also find out how to organise activities within student chapters and branches. Maybe you want to actually organise your own event to invite academics, people from industry in to give talks and sessions. So this is what we can do. We can support you to be able to do that. So on the website, if you contact Bing, if you've got any particular questions. A couple of things we've done recently. Okay, COVID does not stop us. Okay, at the WCCI, the World Congress on Computational Intelligence, which should have been held live face-to-face in Glasgow, but was moved to be virtual, we organised an online student activities event. And if you actually look at some of the things here that we talked about, helping your supervisor help you. So if you're a PhD student, how do you actually work with your supervisor to progress your project? We had two also brilliant, amazing talks. One, what makes a good paper? So what do we look for in journal papers? What does IEEE, with its extremely high standards and high quality, look for in that paper? And how do you actually develop it? Then down here, we also had what makes a good grant proposal. Obviously, if we're staying in academia, grants are really, really big. But how do you write one and where do you start? So this is one of the events that we actually organised. We also had a special open discussion in the WOVA conference app, which looked at research in lockdown, where students across the conference and also full members discussed their experiences of how COVID and the pandemic had affected their research. So there's going to be quite a lot of future events. The next one will be at IEEE SSCI 2020, which is also virtual in Canberra. So one of the things that the Society does that's quite unique is it has its own student and early career mentoring programme. And it was first done in 2009 in New Orleans, virtually at WCCI 2020 in Glasgow. And the next one will be at FUS IEEE in 2021. So what's it all about? So this is specifically for people who are developing in the computational intelligence arena. It's a networking event where presenters who are mentees will be assigned to senior academics who will be mentors in an area that they're both interested in. And the mentor will provide lots of feedback on publications and also be there during the conference. So this particular one this year is open to all students and early career researchers who are presenting a paper at FUS 2021. And if you're accepted, then you'll be assigned a mentor. Of course, you can opt out. But the idea is that you'll work together with your mentor, they'll read your paper, they'll attend your presentation, and they'll be able to give you some feedback. And this will support another new activity, which is a paper development workshop. The idea is, how can you take a very good quality conference paper and what work is needed to upscale that to a high quality journal paper? So this is one of the things that Society does. This information can be found on the FUS IEEE 2021 website, and I definitely think you should go and have a look. So this is a very short introduction for students with many presentations to go through, and I probably hit my limit. Everything I've said here is also available for members. So when you transition, you've come out of your student now, you've graduated, why not carry on? Because all those benefits are still there for you. Thank you very much for your attention. I will hand back over now to Sansanee.
Okay, thank you so much, Keeley. So now, next person is going to be Professor Dipti, who is going to talk about a senior member. So Dipti is please.
Hi, hello everyone. So I'm going to talk about the elevation to senior membership. Now, Keeley has given an excellent introduction to what are the benefits about becoming a student member and a lot of volunteering activities that you can participate in. The next stage, of course, is to become a full member. And what I'm going to talk about is how to become a senior member. Now, senior member, of course, is the next stage, and it takes a few years after someone has been a full member before that person can apply to become a senior member. Let me just start with some of the benefits of senior membership. Oops. Yeah. So first of all, it's the professional recognition by one's peers for technical and professional excellence and path for IEEE Fellowship in future. Second benefit is that there's a plaque that is issued by IEEE that you can proudly display And all senior members who get elevated receive this kind of a plaque. And in addition to this, there can also be a letter that can be sent to the employer. There's also a small monetary benefit. There's a $25 coupon that IEEE sends to all newly elevated senior members, which can be used for a variety of things. A letter of commendation of your accomplishment, which can be sent if requested to your employer on the achievement of senior membership grade. And of course, senior members are eligible to hold executive positions in IEEE. Now, this is true not just for CIS, the Computational Intelligence Society, but for all other societies as well. And very last point, there is no change in membership fees. So from student to full member, yes, indeed, there's a big change, but after that, the fees remain the same. So there are several benefits. Let me just go through the procedure and then we can have a bit of a discussion. So first of all, a lot of people ask me, what are the requirements? How can one become a senior member? The answer is that it's actually not that difficult. All engineers, scientists, even engineering educators or technical executives can become senior members. Of course, they have to be working in IEEE designated fields. If they are in professional practice, they must have 10 years of experience after their basic degree. 7 years if they have a bachelor's degree, 6 years of experience after a bachelor's plus master's degree, and if you've already earned a doctorate, then all you need is 5 years of work experience before you can apply to become a senior member. Of course, there are a couple of other additional criteria, such as you have to show professional maturity and significant performance in some technical area over a period of at least 5 years. This is to ensure that the person who's being elevated to senior membership is technically contributing to the society. In addition to all of these requirements, we also need 3 reference letters from colleagues who are either senior members themselves or fellows. Now, this is where a lot of people are wondering who to approach and how to go about getting these reference letters. I'm going to talk about it a bit more. First of all, Keeley has talked quite a lot about the professional networking as well as to the benefits of being a volunteer. One of the advantages of becoming a volunteer in IEEE is to also expand your network so that they can then write about you when they have to write a reference, let's say for promotion to senior membership or for other purposes as well. There are also local initiatives. In Computational Intelligence Society, we often run elevation initiatives, and at major conferences, we run special events where we encourage the attendees to apply for senior membership if they are eligible. So typically, these are held for interested members. We send out emails before the conferences so that people who are interested know who to approach and when these membership drives are going to be held. And we will then be assisting the interested people with the process. The idea is to get the references. Like I said, you need 3 references. And what we do is that we typically have some kind of a brief interview with a potential referee. The applicants will be bringing their resume. They can even email it to the person beforehand. And then each interviewer, who's typically a senior member himself or an IEEE fellow, will be writing 3 to 4 references. So this is pretty common. And because of the difficulties that many people face in obtaining these references, we run these senior membership promotion drives at major conferences so that it's easy to get the 3 references that you need in order to become a senior member. So this is a fairly straightforward process. So the whole process is like this. Anyone an IEEE member level is eligible to apply as long as you have 5 years of work experience after your PhD, 7 years with bachelor's and so on. And you have to fill out and submit your application, wait for the review panel results, and of course, then you celebrate your success. So it's actually fairly straightforward process. Now, Keeley has talked quite a lot about the benefits of becoming a volunteer. So I'm just going to also say a few things about building your academic reputation. Academic networking is very, very important. Of course, IEEE provides an excellent platform to do this kind of a networking, but you may be overwhelmed in the early stages of your career and you don't know which activities to choose. So choosing the activities, service activities where you can contribute, volunteer, network, and so on is important. It's good to associate only with the top tier conferences, publication venues, and so on, so that you get to know some of the best people in the field. Service on professional societies and organizations creates excellent opportunities for such networking, as well as improving visibility in the field. Now, this becomes important as you apply for promotion. Let's say if you're in the academia or in a research organization, as you become more visible through these activities, things become a lot easier because then people know about your work. Also, it's important to volunteer and get involved in events, to get involved as reviewers as well as associate editors of reputed international journals. And most of the editors-in-chief are always looking for dedicated volunteers who can help them with the review process, who can help them become the associate editor and manage a large number of papers and so on. And very often, they want to have also a gender balance. So for women, actually, it's not difficult to be appointed as associate editors, for example, or to be involved in organizing major conferences, etc. So to build your academic reputation, you could do a lot of things. Organizing events, seminars, panels, or symposiums are also quite important because they can help you to become more visible in your field, for others to know what you're doing. And this is also a bit of self-promotion because through these events, you can also talk about the great work that you have been doing. So all of these are important. And I just wanted to say this because it ties in pretty well with what Keeley has just mentioned. Going back to senior membership, there are several places where you can obtain more information. On IEEE website, there are forms that you can find. There are also requirements and examples, also how the review panel operates. Those kinds of information are also there, and the application form is also available. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask any of us. We would be more than happy to answer. And if you have any other questions, you can just post on the chat, and I would be happy to answer as well. So I'm going to stop here, Sansanee, and I'll stop share.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dipti. So now we know all about the membership and senior membership. So now we're going to go for a fellow. So here's Professor Alice is going to tell us about how to be a fellow.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's morning for me. It's very early. I hope you can see my screen. I'm not used to using this software, but so I know as most of you are students, and fellow might be a really long way down the road, but at least this can plant a seed for you and let you know about this grade of membership and how it can be achieved. And I was chosen as a fellow 3 years ago, and a very proud accomplishment for me. So, okay. So why be a fellow? I'm not sure. Sorry, guys. Okay. I'm moving. I hope you don't see all these controls, just the slides. It's an important recognition for your achievements. It can help with career advancement, The IEEE, including the CIS, has a program called Distinguished Lecturer. Although it's not required, in practice, most people chosen for that post are fellows, and that gives you opportunities to give lectures around the world to different CIS groups, and it's really a wonderful experience. These are some pictures of some of our current CIS women fellows in the CIS community. There have been 14 women who have been chosen as IEEE fellows. So here are the requirements, and this is a quote from the website: accomplishments that have contributed importantly to the advancement or application of engineering, science, and technology, bringing the realization of significant value to society. You do have to hold the senior membership that we just talked about, so that's a first step. And you have to have been a member in good standing and for at least 5 years. This is the procedure. You need to have a nominator who will actually complete the application. You cannot apply yourself. The nominator must do this. The nominator gathers the application, the reference letters, and submits it all online. You do have to select a technical society or council. I went through the Computational Intelligence Society, but I was active in another society, and I considered also going through that, but I'm more active in CIS, so I picked that. So you need to pick the society you think you have the best visibility, the best connections, and the best contributions. You need to have 3 to 5 reference letters. They all must be from IEEE Fellows. These are very important, which means that you do need to network and understand who the IEEE Fellows are, who can write substantial letters endorsing your application. And the deadline is strict. It's March 1st of each year. There are 4 categories to apply under. So if you go to work for industry or a company, probably you would apply under the first, which is an application engineer or practitioner. And so your accomplishments here would be expected to be more applied and more implemented. You can go as an educator, you can go as a research engineer or scientist, and you can go as a technical leader. So technical leader would be more of an entrepreneur, or if you rose into administration or management. The nomination document has 3 aspects: the technical or educational contributions to the field that the nominee has made, and these need to be specific and explained well. The impact from these contributions, which must have already occurred and be evident. Again, there has to be an explicit discussion of each of the contributions and how it's been implemented and or impactful, and why it has made an important contribution to society and to the technical field. And verifiable evidence, so things like citations, patents, and so on. So these are the types of evidence. This is a table. I know you won't be able to read it all, but I'm happy to share my slides if you like. Those are the 4 categories, or the rows. So for example, in education, publications, patents, peer recognition, and so on. So this is a really helpful table to have you choose what kind of contributions you're going to list and how you're going to tell the story about each contribution and its impact. This is the evaluation. So you need to have significant contributions in your chosen category. The evaluation is first done by the society, in our case, the CIS. So the CIS has a fellow committee that each year reviews the fellow applications from the CIS. I've served on that committee before. All of the committee members are IEEE fellows from CIS. And they review the application packages, the letters, and so on. And then each nominee is ranked numerically on the basis of this information. So then the society or technical council, in our case the CIS committee, will make a recommendation to the fellows committee of the greater IEEE, and they will then be considered by that committee. In practice, in my experience, the Fellows Selection Committee of the IEEE has always selected and accepted the recommendations from our council, our society. So the CIS and every other council or society has a certain number of maximum fellows each year that's allowed, and that's based on the membership. And typically in the CIS, we have so many qualified applications that we choose the maximum number of fellows that were allocated each year, at least in my experience. So these are some of my advice. I've already talked about for academics. Publication citations and research projects are really important. You do have to show your body of work has been original, superior. You have to have specific examples, and the references are really, really key. Your nominator is not so key. The nominator is important to make sure everything gets in, but the nominator doesn't actually write a recommendation. And the references or the nominator cannot be on the society or the council fellow selection committee that year. So if you're turned down, don't worry, most people are. I was turned down my first time. I think I waited a couple years. You do not get specific feedback if you are turned down, but you can kind of understand from some informal feedback from other fellows that might make your application stronger. So in a couple years, I had a few more accomplishments, although I think the major thing that turned my application to successful was that I was able to better understand how to write up my accomplishments and how to make them specific and show the impact. So that's my presentation on fellow. Again, I know it seems a long way off, and for most of you it will be, but don't forget about it. It's a great goal to have. And for my friends who are my fellow CIS panelists, I know some of you are nearing fellow, so hopefully this has been helpful to you as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alice. So now we all know about how to be member, senior member, or fellow. So we're gonna go next for Professor Sanaz to tell us about the award that we have. Okay, Sanaz, I turned it to you already.
Yes, so hello from my side. I hope you can hear me and see my screen. Let me see if I can go full screen. Yes. So my name is Sanaz, and I'm a professor of computer science. Actually, I have a chair which is called Computational Intelligence in Magdeburg, Germany. I have been for almost 4 years the chair of Soliciting Awards Subcommittee and IEEE CIS, and I have seen a lot of applications that are coming in, and I was always delighted to see applications from women, but actually we do not have much. So when we were talking about this webinar, I thought, oh, well, I could give some hints and actually tell you which awards are there and how can you apply for them and hopefully get these recognitions. So here is a list of awards that IEEE has. Actually, our society, not IEEE, but IEEE Computational Intelligence Society. So the first three awards are Pioneer Awards. These are for those who are, for example, already fellows. There is another one which is called Meritorious Service Award. Then we have a bunch of awards for which are called Best Paper Awards. I will talk about them. And then Chapter Award, Dissertation Award, Organization Award, and Early Career Award. Some of these awards are actually really good for your career, and if you feel eligible, you should apply for them. But let's go through them and see what they are and how you can get an award. First of all is to identify the right award category. And I have noted here in red that self-nominations are not allowed, and I will tell you why and how you can do it. But first, let's go through the categories one by one. Well, the Pioneer Awards for all the three topics in computational intelligence society, well, these are for people who are pioneers. And there's a rule of thumb, at least 15 years after a paper or an idea has been published and has shown a huge contribution, then we could ask that person, we could nominate that person as a pioneer. And I will let you know later, there are also other aspects. So you cannot have one breathtaking work and be a pioneer in that field. It should be a field that you have worked on, more than one paper, but an area of research that you basically established with your work, and you can show that you have done it. The other one is Meritorious Service Award. This is for people who have been volunteers in our society, like IEEE CIS society. And these people are actually selected by the society. So we know who has been active for such a long time, and they are nominated. But if you know also someone who was very active, was providing a lot of services and volunteering, like us, we are doing, for example, but this is not enough actually to just give a talk and volunteer for a short time, but it's like people who dedicate really a lot of time, they usually get this award. Then we have a bunch of Best Paper Awards. Again, here self-nominations are not allowed. Currently, you can only apply for one of these, for this one, for the IEEE Transactions and Neural Networks and Learning System. The rest of them, they are selected by the editor-in-chief and the associate editors. So why you, because these journals, transactions on fuzzy system evolutionary computation and the others listed here, they have manageable number of submissions in a year. So the editor-in-chief and the associate editors, they select the best ones themselves. The other one on neural network has so many submissions and accepted papers that they cannot actually dig into them. So they say, okay, look, you can nominate yourself, and there is a committee reviewing them and so on. And if you have a paper in that area, you should try to nominate. Then we have Chapter Award and Organization Award. A Chapter Award, it means, well, once it's a very nice story. We asked the people to send their nominations, and one nomination was for a book chapter. Basically, it is not about a book chapter, it's about a chapter. Means like, for example, 2019 IEEE CIS San Diego chapter got the award, or 2018 in India, or 17 and so on. So you can see here these chapters. So these are the group of people, local people, who were organizing a lot of meetings, they were active, and they were basically saying, look, we have been so active, we were dedicating a lot of our time for our local or regional programs, and then they submit their nomination package, and there's a group reading that, and then they evaluate them and they see if they can get the award. The same holds also for Organization Award. Organization Award means a company or an organization, like British Telecom, for example, 2017 received that, or other, like here, Honda Research Institute Europe. These are organizations or companies that they do a lot of research in this area. I think for next year, McAfee got that, for example. So these are the organizations that they received the awards. So now there are two awards that you can actually apply for if you are a PhD student or you are early career researcher. The PhD Dissertation Award is actually something that you can, if you are a PhD student or just finished your PhD in the last 4 years, you can apply for that. And it's a very nice thing if you get this award. So what happens is that you have to write a PhD thesis on the area of in the area of computational intelligence. And the rule for that is that so up to 4 years prior to the calendar year that you're submitting the package. So what you have to submit, your PhD dissertation, list of publications that has been coming out of this dissertation, reference letters. And reference letters are very important, and I will tell you for the Early Career Award why these reference letters are important and how you can get these reference letters. Then you can also write about well, other outcomes if there are other outcomes from the dissertation. Of course, everything should be in English, so if you have written it in a German language, like my students probably would do, it is very difficult for an international committee to evaluate that. So that's why it should be everything written in English language. And the nominations can be also resubmitted for up to 3 years. So if you are not successful in the first year, don't feel discouraged, and then try to apply it for the next 3 years after that. And if it's still you are eligible in terms of the years after, so this up to 4 years prior to the calendar year. So then the other award that I really want to encourage women in our society to apply for is for young researchers who are not over 40 years old. And I know many of them, who are eligible to do that, but they say, no, we are not good, we don't want it. And I know really some really good scientists, and I always write them and ask them, apply for this is really good. If you get an award like that, this is really a very nice thing on your CV, and it gives a huge push to your career. And so for that, what you have to do is that basically you have to show that what you have done based on the quality and amount of the work and activities that you have done and the impact of your work. And if you are in industry, so impact on the industry or economy, and if you are at the university, like how much you have done for your field of research and education. And then for that, you also need reference letters. And as you see here, self-nominations are not allowed. So it means, what can you do? So you have to find a nominator, and that person has to, well, nominate you. What you can do is actually preparing a nomination package is very complicated. It's not actually complicated if you have all the material, but someone has to do the work, and it involves some workload for the nominator. So one thing you could do is that you can find a nominator who knows you and is willing to submit the nomination package. So if you have a nominator who doesn't like you, so you couldn't ask that person. And it shouldn't necessarily, for example, for the Early Career Award or for the Dissertation Award, it shouldn't necessarily be your supervisor. It could be anyone that knows you. And you can support that person, that nominator, to prepare the nomination package. For example, you can try to find people who can write a reference letter for you. And here, what I want to say, you should be visible to your network. You should know those people who can write reference letter for you. That's why being part of a society like this and be active, making yourself visible in the society is very important, that you know important people in this field, and they can later support you by writing reference letters for you or doing these nominations for you. Then one thing you could also do is that prepare your CV or provide the information regarding your contribution. Basically, what you do is that you prepare the nomination package, you ask the nominator to just submit that nomination. So I'm not sure if next year I would do the task for soliciting nomination, but if yes, I would really like to see a lot of nominations from the women from society. Thank you so much for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Sanaz. We have one question for Alice. Josh asking for fellow, can the nominator be one of the reference?
I'm pretty sure that's not allowed. In practice, it never happens. So I don't think that's allowed. They have to be separate people. Again, the nominator is important in being able to be proactive and get everything in, but doesn't actually add text to the nomination. So you want to say your quote, knowledgeable and good people you're going to ask to be the letters of reference, not the nominator.
Okay. So the nominator has to be in our society or not?
Yeah, again, I honestly didn't look up those requirements. I do think the nominator needs to be in the society. I'm not positive if the nominator needs to be a fellow. My nominator was in the society and was a fellow, is a fellow. And I think in practice, that's what happens, but I'm not positive that that's a requirement. But all of this is online at the IEEE, so that detail should be looked up.
Okay.
From my side, for the awards, the nominator should not necessarily be from the society. Can be anyone, just not yourself.
Okay.
Not even IEEE member. It could be anyone, but not the person who is going to get nominated.
Okay. Okay. I don't see any other question. Do you guys have any question? I don't have any question in the question box right now, so I think we. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
Well, no, but I want to thank them for being here. I see that we have quite a few attendees here, so thank you for listening to that. And if you really want to be volunteers or help us with the tasks that we have, you're more than welcome to write us an email to Keeley, to me. I will be the Vice President for Member Activities from next year. So if you are interested to be involved like us, see, we are all volunteers across the world. And Alice is having a breakfast. I will have a dinner just in a few hours. So if you are interested to be involved like us, being volunteers, help others, and be part of this club, you're more than welcome. Write us an email, and then next time probably you will give a webinar to everyone else. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So I'm just gonna stop right here, and
Thanks, everyone.
I'll see you next webinar. Goodbye, good night, thank you. So what am I going to do? Okay, ending.